Working now?
Yep. Yeah, I think it's working now.
There's a couple people waiting.
All right. Good afternoon. I am John Harder, doing another live cast uh, for Free Energy and TBC. All right. Now, I was quite excited today. We had a yard sale today, and of course I handed people cards with my about my project, about the project that we're doing. And I had a few people that were interested, and there was one particular guy who was very interested in the free energy, and also said to me that he has quite a bunch of connections that will be all over this too. So to me, that sounds like a success story. Okay, so I'm kind of excited about that. Great stuff, guys. Great stuff. All right. Thank you very much for joining me here, Romeo, Diana, Lucy, and Stephen. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And today I want to go over with us about, I entitled it The Law of Belief, although that isn't necessarily a universal law, but more so the vibratory field responds, how it responds to our beliefs. That is would be more detailed as to how that would fit. Okay, so I have only 5 pointers here that I want to discuss today on regarding this. And so again, before I get into this, I want to touch on some of the things that I also talked with people this morning. I am how should I say, kind of surprised. I mean, I have talked with I have mentioned to quite a number of people in town. When I would meet people and so on, I would talk to them about the central banks, about NATO's Agenda 21 and those kind of things. And in most cases, people have never heard of any of that before. Whereas today, there was 3 people that I talked to that were somewhat aware. One of them actually quite aware, and so that tells me that there are more people waking up. There are more people out there that do know about the central banking system, all this stuff, than what we may be aware of sometimes. So anyhow, so with that said, although I don't believe they were aware of what the smart meters, although one of them was actually, one of them did, he knew about the smart meters, what that's all about, which most people don't. I think it's the only person I ever met that actually, here in town, that actually had any idea about that. Okay. Now, as I discuss the universal law of belief, or should I say the power of belief, that is really what I mean by that, is more so the power of belief than necessary the law of belief. See, here's the thing. The vibratory field that is encompasses the entire universe, which it doesn't matter whether you're talking about an erupting volcano or whether you're talking about you know, the glass cup that the water is in. It doesn't matter. Everything is one. All is one. One is all and all is one. That's that is an old Hindu saying, apparently. Let me just close the window here quickly because there's too much noise. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so my list here, the power of belief. Okay, and then number two, the second line that I have that I want to discuss a little bit is, as you believe, so is it done to you. That's a line from the Bible. The third one is, understand that you have it within you. All right, we'll talk more about that later. Believe you already have it and it will appear. Okay, and then the fifth one is, that which I greatly feared has come upon me. You probably recognize that too as a line from the Bible. If you don't, it's found in the book of Job. That's where you'd find that line, that statement. That which I greatly feared has come upon me. Okay, so the power of belief. There's a man, and this man was from the Vatican City, who was diagnosed with a tumor that the doctors right away said that there is nothing they could do. They could not help him. And he went to see a person in China. I have no idea how he heard about him, but long story short, he went to see a man in China. What this man did, he made a few motions behind his back. And and he asked him, well, what are you doing? He says, well, he said there, I am switching a few, how was it now? Yeah, exactly. I'm moving a few switches in your energy field, okay? And this man was healed. He was, okay, I apologize. I knew something wasn't right. I'm sorry, I had two different stories mixed up. I had two stories mixed up. I apologize for that. The story that I'm talking about was a man who had sprained his foot, and he went to get X-rays, and the doctors figured that they could operate on it. That was the only way they knew to fix it, and but he decided to just tough it out instead. Well, instead of it getting better, it got worse. And so he eventually went to see this Chinaman. Okay, so sorry, that's where I had the story mixed up. He went to see this Chinaman, and that's what this Chinaman did, as I just said. And then as he the pain disappeared. He could hardly walk before, and now the pain disappeared and he walked with ease, no problem. So what's the difference? What happened? Now in the Bible, we also find different stories of where people were instantly healed. Some places, sometimes that wasn't instant. There was something else needed. For instance, where this person, well, actually that's an Old Testament story where Naaman had to go and wash himself in the Jordan River. And he was, at first, he was angry. He, that the Israel, the prophet of Israel would tell him that to wash in the dirty river of Jordan. It was considered a dirty river. But then his helping hand convinced him and said to him that if it had been something, something more difficult, or something different, would have you then, would you have done it? Well, yes, he would have. And so that kind of convinced him to do it anyways. And when he did, he was healed, and that was of leprosy. Okay, so as you believe, so is it done unto you. Now I'll say this here, for quite a number of years, I would often hear these messages preached on, on faith, on these different things, and they would, preachers would explain miracles and all that kind of stuff. And miracles, they only seem to fit for back in the Bible time. They don't seem to happen today. Well, now that I understand the law of vibration, the law of the laws of the universe, it turns out that miracles happen just as much today as they ever did, because it doesn't matter what it is that comes into our life. It does so because of our belief. Now, I know that some people may disagree with me on this, but because how do they end up having what they have? How do they end up getting diagnosed with some disease that they didn't think they'd ever have, or whatever? Well, we need to understand that if we don't understand the laws of the universe and we just go about our life, don't bother with actual thinking. Actual thinking does not consist of who won the the soccer game last night, or who won the lottery, or what what did I hear on the news today or yesterday. That none of that has to do with thinking. That's not thinking. Thinking actually, like real thinking, only happens when we consciously engage and directing our thoughts toward a specific purpose, something that we want to happen in our life, or sometimes, in some cases, it's in somebody else's life. We might be praying for someone. Okay, so that's when real thinking happens. Or let's say we have a problem with something, and we are we're bogged down about that problem. We're thinking about the problem, and it's a huge problem. We're complaining about it and this and that. That's not thinking. That is not thinking. We do that. It's the opposite of thinking. What we're doing when we do that, we're actually confusing our vortex. We are confusing the energy field that we're in, the thought field. We're confusing that. And what will it bring? More of the same. More of the same. That's what we're ordering, okay? Because first of all, in the first place, we are in that situation because of our previous thinking. We got to remember, guys, everything works the same way. Let's give that a little bit of thought. Everything works the same way. When you plant a seed in the ground, that seed, first of all, needs proper conditions for it to even germinate and then form. And what does it shoot for? It shoots for life. It shoots for sunlight. That's the first thing it wants. Shoots for sunlight. Okay, so everything works the same way. When you all of a sudden get an idea about a business that you want to start and you're excited about it, as soon as you make a decision that you want to proceed and do this, you are planting the seed. You are then planting the seed for that business. Okay? It works the same way. The conditions need to be right. They need to be right. Now, if you do it with doubt, then the harvest or the seed isn't going to properly, the conditions, the soil conditions weren't right. So we need to do it in faith and fully believing, not regard anything less than success of this business. Okay, so believe. 2, as you have believed. So, okay, that's the one we were talking about. As you have believed, so is it done unto you. Now, personally, I love way better to talk about business than I do to talk about healing. Of course, it's all the same. Healing works the same way. When a person, like if a relative or a friend or something, if they are sick, we who know the law of vibration, we understand that their sickness comes from a mixed up vortex. It comes from entertaining thoughts that you don't want. It could be anger. It could be a history of resentment. It could be, sometimes people, they hold a grudge against someone. Holding a grudge is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing because a grudge is actually known to cause tumors to grow. It's usually those type of things. Sometimes it can be fear. It can just like one of the lines says, that which I greatly feared has come upon me. It can be the fear about, giving thought about somebody having a disease or whatever, and therefore you end up with it in your vortex, and if you don't clean that up, then it'll show up in the body. Okay, so but what I meant to do is I meant to mention the idea of when you pray for somebody. Okay, so in order to successfully do this, we need to assume that person's uh, that person's uh, I want to use a spiritual term here because we are spiritual beings. Our thoughts, it's a living spirit. This is why they create that which we think about, that which we want, that which we desire, because they are spiritual. And the spirit is what is life. Okay, so we need to then assume that person's mind and fully claim health to that person. Claim that that person is fully healthy. Let me tell you just a little story here since I'm on this. Okay, there was a guy, and this guy was in the US. His daughter, in a different state at quite a distance, was in a hospital. Okay, she was in hospital, and he heard about that she was dying. She was actually very ill. What he did is he went in the spirit to visit her. And while he did, she was alone in the room at the time. And when a nurse come in, the daughter said to the nurse that I am healed. And the nurse couldn't figure it out. Like, you are very sick. How can you be healed? Well, she said, my father came in here and healed me. I had a conversation with him, and he healed me of my illness. And she wasn't about to believe it because she hadn't seen anybody go by or anything. And when she realized that she wasn't going to believe her, she just said, well, it's okay, but he was here, and I'm healed. And she was totally healed. And what he did is he went and made himself completely calm, completely stopped the wheels of his mind, and in the spirit went to see her by her bed and told her that she was now healed of this disease. And then came back. And so he was gone for, I believe it was 10 minutes. I forget now. I don't remember the exact time, but it was only a few minutes. Now, if you're a Bible reader, you will appreciate what I'm telling you now. The Apostle Paul, you probably know that he talks about a happening. He said, I don't know if it was in the body or out of the body. You see what I mean? It's a mystery whether it was in the body or out of the body. He was somewhere else. And that's what this man did. The only thing that's required to do this is faith. An unwavering faith is all it takes. That's all that's required in order to do this. Okay, so let's get back to our lines here. All right, so believe that you already have it. Now, I'd like for us to just see this in its reality. Okay, because when you see a clear picture in your mind of how you want to be, let's say you want to lose weight. We'll just use that as an example, right? Let's say you want to lose weight. Maybe you've tried it for, years. You want to lose weight, and you've tried diets, you've tried all kinds of things, and it never worked. All of a sudden, you have learned how the law of vibration works. You have learned how the spirit works. You have learned that the spirit has complete control over the body. Okay. And so you decide that you want to lose 50 pounds. Well, all you have to do is believe that you've lost 50 pounds. You believe that you've lost the 50 pounds. You go and you look in the mirror and you tell yourself that you are exactly the weight that you are. It doesn't have to be exact, but all you have to do is tell yourself that you are now at your perfect weight. And if it works better for you, then use a scale, a scale that you step on to weigh yourself. Over the screen, cover that with a tape that says the weight that you want to be. Step on it every day, and then look at it and rejoice that you have reduced your weight to that. Okay. Now the subconscious might not pick it up right away, but after you have given some thought, and you see yourself being that weight, and you don't let up from that, sooner or later you have your subconscious convinced, and you will lose the weight that you want to lose. Guys, this works in every area of life. Here's what I want to inject, a very important thing that you must be very careful about. Now, of course, if you understand the law of vibration, the law of reciprocation, then you will already be careful about it. But people have made some very big mistakes not knowing. Okay, let me tell you this story, another little story again. There was a woman she was driving past this house, and she just loved that house, and she wanted it. She wanted this house, and then she would purposely drive past it and look at it because she wanted it. And then the man that owned it died, and then she got the house because now it was for sale. It was empty. But some years later, she learned the law of vibration. She learned about the law of reciprocation. And she realized she had killed that man. So we must be careful what we wish. We must be careful what we do. Because now, if a person understands the law of vibration, and someone else would want that house, and he had understood the law of vibration, it wouldn't have affected him. But when they don't know, it can be very harmful. Okay, so also very important to note that when we wish harm on someone else, that is going to come back and bite us. We will likely not affect that other person at all, because the evil isn't in that person's heart, it's in my own. and therefore that that will become destruction for me if I wish evil on someone else. So we need to be careful. We want to, of course, we don't want to wish evil on anyone. Of course not. We love everyone, right? Because the law of vibration is first pure. Okay, so believe that you already have it. When you desire success, believe that you are as successful as you want to be. This, in order to do this, you don't have to have anything. A person who is, let's say, a person who lives on the streets has nothing. If he understands this and starts believing that he is successful, he will become successful. He will become successful because he believes it. It's because what you feed into your vortex, the thoughts that you feed in, they reciprocate. They bring back into your life that which you are thinking about. And so if you keep on thinking about success, you reject, don't fight, but when negative thoughts come, challenge them. Ask them, where are you coming from? Why are you in my life? How did I, what purpose are you serving? And when you find out, then make a conclusion that you don't need that anymore. You're going to replace it with something else. Here's what I'm going to do. From now on, I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to replace it with something different, with something positive. Yeah, you replace it with the opposite, right? And your subconscious mind will accept that. When you replace it with something positive, something that you want, it will accept it. You might have to do it a few times, but it'll accept it. Because you're not fighting with it. If you're fighting with it, it'll keep showing up again. Because you are creating friction. You're creating friction in your vortex, and it'll keep showing up. But don't fight with it. Just calmly and accept that this is how it is. This is what but I no longer need it now. So I'm going to let go of that, and I'm going to replace it with something else. So if you have, if there are thoughts of doubt or thoughts of lack, those thoughts of lack that keep showing up, ask yourself, where do you come from? Why are you showing up? And then just calmly, by the way, I don't think I need you anymore. I'm going to replace you with success. Yeah, thoughts of success. That's what I'm going to do. And you know what? You do that a few times, and your subconscious will accept that, and then those thoughts won't show up anymore. Instead, thoughts of success will become the normal habit. It's important that we accept our life exactly the way it is. If we want success, and then we start thinking, but I want this out of my life first. I want that out of my life, and there's all of these things I want out of here. I don't want. Guys, hang on. That's not going to produce success, guys. That's not going to produce success. Accept it exactly the way it is, and then introduce the changes. Then introduce the changes that you want. Okay. All right. It looks to me like Stephen Coffey is live, and I probably went longer than, and I really want to hang out on his broadcast. So I'm gonna I'm gonna cut this shorter because I want to. I have hardly talked about TBC, although it was all about TBC. It was all about it, right? Because we want success. So let's use these principles that work, principles that are in the universe, that are all there for our success. Let's use them to our advantage and live the life of success and joy that we so deserve and desire. Folks, we are building a wonderful world. We really are. Let's keep on. Okay, and if you're watching this video that you weren't on this hangout and you would like to get into TBC, or you'd like to know more about the free energy units that we're building and you want to become successful, I have links that plenty of information that you can go to and find in the description below. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging in there with me. I appreciate it, and let's build the world the way we want it. Thank you.